what happens in the locker room should stay there. But some people love drama.
The Lakers are staring down the barrel of a crisis without precedent in league history. Word on the street is that LeBron and Luka just threw hands behind closed doors because the one scenario James never thought possible just became reality. Luka Dončić didn't just touch down in Los Angeles. He usurped the hierarchy overnight. The second Luka's sneakers hit the tarmac, the tectonic plates of the organization shifted. Suddenly, LeBron, the man who ran this show for 6 consecutive years, wasn't the alpha voice in the room. Luka was. And the moment the shift became undeniable to the faithful was post-game when Rob Pelinka, the Lakers GM, walked right past LeBron to shadow Luka down the tunnel. You didn't need a zoom lens to see the disbelief etched on James's face. The frequency in Los Angeles has changed. The crown is tilting. Luka is seizing the kingdom, and LeBron is painfully aware of it. So today we are peeling back the layers from that. Walk in the tunnel to the friction that sparked the altercation in the back. Believe me, you have never seen a power struggle like this. If you are under the illusion that James is still calling the shots, wake up. From the way the squad moves to how the front office operates, the orbit now centers on Luka Dončić. He is the one orchestrating the offense, the locker room gravitates toward the one, getting the daps, the praise, and the spotlight that used to be LeBron's sole property. This isn't just gossip. Watch the tape. Check the box scores. Luka is stacking doubles draining circus shots and somehow elevating the entire roster. Meanwhile, LeBron is doing his thing, sure, but the badge has been passed. There is a new sheriff in town. The writing is on the wall if you open your eyes. I mean, it is an open secret that the brass is mortgaging the next decade on Luka. The official social feed is a highlight reel of Luka's daggers, Luka's flexes, Luka's mic'd up clips, while the content featuring the king feels significantly lighter than before. Even the legends, the icons LeBron grew up worshipping, are discussing Dončić like he is the solitary figure carrying the league's torch. But all of this is unfolding while James is still wearing the jersey. He always knew Luka was the heir apparent. He just didn't expect the franchise to pivot this rapidly, this loudly, and this absolutely. So, no, Luka isn't just another all-star in purple and gold. He is the catalyst for the evolution, the reason the organization is playing the long game, and the reason LeBron, for the first time in his tenure, might actually be feeling like an outsider. He is used to being the solar system. Every team revolves around. Hell, that hunger is why he left Cleveland in the rearview back in 2010. And honestly, it is about to get even grittier once we dissect the trade details, the timeline, and James's reaction when he realized that keys to the castle had been handed to Luka. When the bomb dropped that Luka Dončić was headed to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis and a handful of assets, the entire basketball world froze.
Calm down. You're hooked up on stuff. What's the big deal about that?
No.
I'm sitting down saying,
This wasn't a standard swap. This was a seismic shift no one predicted. We are talking about a reigning all-star, all-NBA guard in his prime, shipped from the Dallas Mavericks to Hollywood. Trades of that magnitude are unicorns. The second the ink was dry, the fallout was as theatrical as the deal itself. Fans, analysts retired. Legends, everyone lost their minds. Some branded it the most jarring trade in modern history. Luka himself confessed it felt like a hallucination. Said hearing the news felt fake, like a twisted prank. He looked rattled and emotional, which tracks considering he had spent his entire professional life in Dallas. Then in a blink, he was Lakers property. And frankly, the LA faithful didn't hesitate. They embraced him like the savior they had been praying for. And then Luka walked in.
A little sad about losing AD, but we got in his prime Luka, right? So we're set for the next 10, 15 years.
What you think of the trade with Luka Dončić?
Great.
Yet by the time he took the podium at the official intro, the PHU jet text was screaming. The front office, led by Rob Pelinka, didn't even attempt to mask their euphoria. Pelinka spoke of Luka as the cornerstone of the franchise's next epic, as if the Lakers were locking in a long-term pivot around him. And when you factor in the timing, that is where the narrative gets volatile. Right around the trade, LeBron was sidelined with a left calf issue, the type of injury that kept him out of the lineup at the season opener. That hadn't happened in decades. That injury, call it bad luck, call it poetic justice, meant LeBron couldn't stand his ground, while the franchise went all in on the new blood. The stars aligned, but the timing was brutal. When the mics went hot, LeBron's reaction told the whole story. He admitted the notification. Felt like a prank at first. Said he couldn't wrap his head around Davis being traded. It didn't actually hit him until he saw Luka wearing the purple and gold. On camera, he played it cool, acting like he had zero issues with the Slovenian joining the squad.
I was out with my family at dinner and got the news, and first time I heard it, I thought it was for sure fake. Thought it was a hoax. People messing around, whatever.
On paper, he claimed to embrace the idea of running with another superstar. But he miscalculated how quickly the loyalty would shift from him to Luka. Just like that, the foundation cracked. A deal that was supposed to shake up Dallas turned into a hard reset for Los Angeles. The league's attention pivoted. The fan base went ballistic. The front office changed course. And James, the man who defined this era of the Lakers, suddenly found himself on a roster signaling he was no longer the alpha. That's where the friction starts to get real. Because once Luka Dončić touched down in LA, it wasn't just a jersey swap. It felt like a complete regime change in the locker room. A couple of weeks post-trade, the whispers started, and some insider intel suggested the energy in Los Angeles had turned dark. One of the loudest sources was Jovan Buha. Yeah, the Lakers beat writer. He reported that inside the facility there is a genuine worry that frustration and doubt are setting in with players and staff unsure of the team's identity. To grasp how much this stings, James, you have to look at the resume. LeBron has always dictated the terms on every roster he's led. His entire career has been about controlling the ecosystem. Until Luka walked in. Look at Cleveland, for instance. During his first run with the Cavs, he walked because he felt management couldn't construct a title contender. When he came back in 2014, the script flipped. They grabbed Kevin Love because James demanded it. Even the bench wasn't safe from his reach. David Blatt got the axe mid-season in 2015-16 despite sitting atop the East. Also, LeBron's pick Ty Lue could take the helm. He weaponized those 1+1 deals to keep leverage high and force the front office into win-now maneuvers. Then in Los Angeles, the Lee GM moniker didn't appear out of thin air. He engineered the Anthony Davis trade, publicly called for upgrades, and had a heavy hand in the Lakers' decision to draft his son Bronny. Let's be real, the kid's path to the league wasn't exactly free of his father's influence. James has always held the pen, but this was a system shock, because Lakers management didn't just ignore him once Luka arrived. They started giving Luka the exact treatment James felt entitled to as the #1 option. The strategy sessions, the media focus, the deference, the body language, it all transferred to Luka overnight. It got so toxic that reports surfaced about LeBron pressing Luka on who was really steering the ship. The argument nearly turned physical, and teammates had to step in. They tried to keep a lid on it, but the cameras don't lie. During a recent timeout, LeBron dapped up a teammate but looked right past Luka, leaving him hanging in the wind. This wasn't some rookie hazing ritual. This was a classic power struggle. James has spent 20 years on the throne. He's used to driving, the culture calling the shots, being the guy. Now there is a challenger who threatens that naturally, not because Luka is playing politics, but because he is simply that dominant. The youth, the crowd noise, the media worship, all of it chips away at the armor James has spent decades forging. Inside those walls, the question is echoing. Is this still LeBron's kingdom, or is Luka quietly taking the crown? It's not just gossip, it's a tectonic shift. And in a league where hierarchy matters as much as the box score, the cracks are visible. If you thought the trade was massive, this transition is about to get heavy. Trust me when you see how Luka's teammates and even other legends speak about him. With that level of reverence, you realize the tension between the two icons is a powder keg waiting to make the NBA more volatile than anything we've witnessed in years. You couldn't script this drama any better. Since Dončić showed up, everyone from the role players to the old heads seems to be tilting toward him. Take Austin. Reeves. After a big win, he noted that he usually keeps the praise for Luka in check, but admitted he believes Luka is one of the absolute best walking the planet. He went further, hyping up Luka's leadership and his ability to elevate everyone around him. Reeves basically said, Luka is the engine.
He wants to go out there and win. So when you put a guy like that on your team, and obviously everybody knows how skilled he is and, the way he makes the game, easy for everybody else.
And it didn't stop there. Once the dust settled on the trade, even the legends of the game started lighting up about him. Allen Iverson, a man who built a legacy on brutal honesty, didn't mince words. He jumped on a podcast and dropped a serious truth bomb.
Who in the league reminds you of yourself?
Everybody say Ja. What the hell is wrong with Luka?
Coming from the answer that is about the highest praise you can get. Then you have Kevin Garnett stepping in recently, claiming that Dončić landing in Los Angeles effectively gifted LeBron James a 3-year extension on his NBA lifespan.
What does Luka do for Bron?
What? Man, look, Bron, this brought Bron 3 years. You know what Bron can do? This is what Bron wanted AD to do.
Right.
Go ahead, big fella.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Hey.
Now, this shit Luka about to do is about to be impactful.
What Garnett's point was pugilato, but cuts deep. Forget the anger, the power struggles, and the media attention. Luka's arrival is fundamentally rewriting LeBron's final chapter. The narrative is flipping. Fans are siding with the Slovenian star because he didn't just win hearts, he brought immediate value to the Lakers. He started putting points on the board and turning every single matchup into a declaration that this franchise belongs to him now. The analytics back it up. Before Dončić touched down in Los Angeles, the Lakers' offense was passable, sure, but it wasn't a machine. It was managing games, not dominating them. Post-trade, the landscape changed. Tracking data shows the Lakers' three-point attempt frequency skyrocketed from 34.3 to 42.3 per 100 possessions. That is a vault from the league's basement straight into the top 3 for volume. That kind of shift forces defenses to stretch thin, playing right into Luka's hands. When the defense abandons, the paint spacing explodes, and suddenly you have role players and shooters feasting on wide-open looks. None of that is luck. That is a system being completely re-engineered around Luka's gravity. It is no accident the Lakers' offensive rating spiked to 116.1 with him on the floor. He dragged that efficiency up, and now they are sitting top 7 in the association. That is the team impact. But look at his individual numbers. In his very first game back against his old squad, the Dallas Mavericks, just weeks after the blockbuster deal, Luka dropped 19 points, snagged 15 boards, and handed out 12 assists. That marked his first triple-double in purple and gold, and the 81st of his career. You have to imagine the Mavericks front office felt sick watching that unfold. Since putting on the Lakers jersey, he is averaging roughly 28 points, 8.2 rebounds, and around 8 assists a night. And that is while learning a brand new playbook and adjusting to new teammates on the fly. These numbers aren't just empty stats. They are transformative. Because Luka commands so much respect. Guys like Austin Reeves and Jackson Hayes are actually elevating their game. According to the analysis, pick-and-roll efficiency under Luka's command jumped from 0.92 to 1.18 points per possession after February 2025. That means role players who looked average last season now have room to operate because defenses can't collapse the paint anymore. It is the ripple effect of having a generational playmaker running the show. So instead of stagnant sets or LeBron's predictable isolation plays, the Lakers are running with better spacing, sharper execution, and real pace. That was the seismic shift that forced the coaching staff and front office to fully embrace a Luka-centric identity. As one insider put it, this trade wasn't about swapping jerseys. It was about installing a completely new operating system. Let's be real, you can't mortgage your future on a 41-year-old legend whose athletic peak is in the rearview mirror. But with Luka's youth elite production and the way he is single-handedly driving offensive ratings management, saw the lane clearly. This gives the franchise more than just short-term buckets. It hands them a multi-year blueprint for dominance. Dončić is only 26. He is hungry, he is evolving, and he has massive room to grow as the cornerstone of this team. It makes perfect sense why they pivoted their focus so aggressively. If this was just about getting a star name on the roster, people would call it ambitious. But this turned into a full-blown hard reboot of the Lakers culture. If you ask me, the Lakers aren't just playing out the season. They are pouring the concrete for a new legacy. One that doesn't require LeBron James to carry the world on his shoulders. With Luka at the wheel, the engine hums perfectly. Right now, when you stack Luka Dončić side by side with LeBron James, the math makes it undeniable who is steering the ship. Start with usage rates. Luka is commanding 33.8% of the Lakers' offense this season. That means roughly 1 out of every 3 offensive plays runs through him. Meanwhile, LeBron's usage has dipped to about 28.8%, meaning the system isn't leaning on him like a crutch anymore. The ball flows through Luka, and it moves efficiently. The Slovenian is averaging 28.2 points, grabbing 8.1 rebounds and dishing 7.5 assists in 35 minutes a night. LeBron. He is posting 24.4 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 8.2 assists in roughly the same playing time. Luka is maintaining an elite true shooting percentage while shouldering heavy minutes and defensive pressure. LeBron simply can't sustain that volume anymore. And this is where it gets really interesting because we aren't just looking at stats, we are watching a changing of the guard. It is not just about what Luka is doing on the hardwood. Hey, it is the machinery grinding behind the curtain. The Lakers front office is sending an even heavier signal, and believe me, it is crystal clear. You recall that tunnel sequence earlier watching LeBron and Luka walk in postgame only to see Rob Pelinka bypass the king to shadow Luka. You do not need a doctorate in psychology to decode that dynamic. That is symbolic authority. That is the general manager declaring without a word, this is our franchise now. LeBron is the setting sun. And James knows it. You might ask yourself, why does Pelinka, walking with Luka, carry such weight? Because the Lakers do not do Hava Hujetlo when they anoint a new king. Check the archives. Magic, Shaq, Kobe. Once management identified the centerpiece, the entire organization shifted, from marketing strategies to roster architecture, media spins, and even season ticket packages. The gravity of the franchise bends to the chosen one. Right now, Luka is that center of gravity. The evidence is undeniable. Luka is reportedly sitting down with Pelinka more than anyone else, mapping out rotations, trades, and the 10-year vision. The marketing machine has quietly pivoted to favor the young guard. Ticket drives and social timelines are Pujetly positioning him as the sole face of the brand. Insider whispers confirm the Lakers have officially entered the post-LeBron epic, and the suits are planning accordingly. Pelinka is on record stating they are building around Luka for the next 10 years.
I can't think of a more amazing starting point to build a roster for the next decade. And
what exactly did LeBron anticipate? That he would occupy the throne in perpetuity that the organization would forever grant him. Leverage over the future. This is where the friction begins to spark, because after the brass signaled their new priority, LeBron appears to be quietly, perhaps desperately attempting to wrestle back the narrative. Some nights it looks like he is fighting ghosts for the old crown. You see it when he demands the ball, forcing the offense through a bottleneck. Sequences that should flow through Luka, the designated leader, are stalled dead in their tracks. Even in pressers, LeBron drops veiled references to experience and knowing how to win, taking jabs at Luka. We know the routine. LeBron's leadership can be performative. The label I have settled on. He is a front runner. When the roster is stacked and a ring is realistic, he engages that high-level leadership. We saw it in 2019. When the odds drop, that is when the passive-aggressive theatrics surface. And to make matters worse, the media and the league at large are not cutting him any slack. The moment the Luka trade went through the sports shows, the analysts, the peers, they all pivoted. The question wasn't, can the Lakers make this work? It became, is Luka the undisputed face of the NBA? You are going to witness a tangible divide on the floor between Luka and LeBron. I believe Luka is going to perform like the alpha of the league. In fact, to quote Paul Pierce, they are letting LeBron groom Luka to take the keys to the Lakers. On ESPN's Trade Breakdown, one analyst labeled the swap the most radical move in years, eclipsing even the Big Three. Era, yes, the very era LeBron defined. Already the airwaves are filled with debates on what this signifies for James. Some pundits question if he is merely a bridge, now a temporary veteran anchor, until Luka assumes total control. Social media has gone feral, circulating memes of Luka carrying LeBron with chants, echoing for Luka. In televised interviews, vets and analysts discuss the horizon rather than LeBron's past accolades. They talk about Luka's global gravity merchandise numbers, ticket hype, and how a young icon like him reshapes the Lakers' long-term equity. But LeBron, he is becoming a footnote. The headline is Luka not the king. And this is where the situation turns volatile, because the media storm didn't just hit the locker room, it hit the fan base like shrapnel. Laker Nation is effectively turning on LeBron. You see it everywhere, from The comment threads to guys arguing outside the arena like it is a custody battle. You have the younger, demographic specifically, the Gen Z crowd fully locked in on Luka. They are the ones clipping highlights, making edits, dissecting possessions, and christening him the future of Los Angeles. They worship the style, the step backs, the impossible vision, the aura, and the fact that he is 26 and operating at the summit. To them, Luka is not just a baller. He is the definition of the new age. He is the reason they are swiping their credit cards again. And what is more, shocking is that the older heads, the ride or die Kobe, MJ, and Showtime loyalists, they are sliding over to Luka's corner too. He is a reminder of a time when pure skill and intensity ruled the hardwood. And because they have seen this film, they know the texture of a dynasty here. They have seen the baton passed from Magic to Kobe, then into the void for years. Then Luka arrives and that electricity returns instantly. That vibe shift is lethal for James because when the stands choose a new idol, the suits fall in line. Kobe commanded legions. Magic commanded legions. Shaq had his soldiers. Now Luka is assembling that same heavy artillery. A cult following built on real game. Combine the press noise, the brass, tipping their hand and the crowd picking a new horse mid-race. You understand why the king feels the walls closing in. He isn't just boxing Luka on the hardwood, he is fighting the soul of the city, and look, that is a war you lose. It brings us to the ugly question, the one the networks are too scared to voice, but every ticket holder's whispering. Is the reign over? Did Luka snatch the crown simply by being hungrier, fresher, and more dynamic? Are we watching the post-James era in real time? Because the promos, the rotations, the way the squad speaks on what is next, it feels like the Lakers have already moved on. Here's the cold reality. Luka is the horizon. LeBron is history. And Los Angeles is deciding who leads the parade. So I put it to you, who are you standing with?